that Dickens had brought the actress Ellen Ternan an expensive bracelet after our production of The Frozen Deep, and the idiot jeweller had delivered the thing to the Dickens' home in London, Tavistock House, not to Miss Ternan's flat. As a result of this misdelivery, Catherine had given forth several weeks' worth of bovine mewlings, refusing to believe that it was merely her husband's token offering of innocent esteem to the actress who had done such a wonderful, actually I would say barely competent, job as the hero's beloved Clara Burnham in my play about unrequited love in the Arctic. Dickens flew into a rage, shouting and roaring at the soon cowed Catherine. I apologize for any inadvertent bovine connotation there. That his wife's accusations were a slur on the pure and luminously perfect person of Ellen Ternan. He insisted that Catherine make a social call on Ellen Ternan and Ellen's mother, showing everyone that there could be no hint of suspicion or jealousy on his wife's part. In essence, Dickens was demanding that his wife publicly apologize to his mistress, or at least to the woman he would soon choose to be his mistress when he worked up the courage to make the arrangements. Weeping, miserable Catherine did as she was bid. She humiliated herself by making a social call on Ellen and Mrs. Ternan. It was not enough to assuage Dickens' fury. He cast the mother of his 10 children out. He sent Charlie, his eldest son, to live with Catherine. He kept the rest of the children to live with him at Tavistock House and eventually at Gad's Hill Place. All this from the man who epitomized, not just for England, but for the world, the image of the happy home. And he was correct in his assumption that the crisis would pass without his readers abandoning him. If they knew of his domestic irregularities at all, they had obviously forgiven him. He was, after all, the English prophet of the happy home and the world's greatest writer. Allowances must be made. I have not forgotten the 9th of June, 1865, the true beginning of this cascade of incredible events. Dickens, explaining to friends that he was suffering from overwork and what he had been calling his frost-bitten foot since midwinter, had taken a week off from his work of finishing Our Mutual Friend to enjoy a holiday in Paris. I do not know if Ellen Ternan and her mother went with him. I do know they returned with him. A lady whom I've never met nor much wish to, a certain Mrs. William Clara Pitt-Byrne, loved to send little bits of malicious gossip to the Times. This malevolent morsel, reporting the sighting of our friend on the ferry from Boulogne to Folkestone that day of the 9th of June, appeared some months after Dickens' accident. Travelling with him was a lady not his wife, nor his sister-in-law, yet he strutted about the deck with an air of a man bristling with self-importance. Every line of his face and every gesture of his limbs seemed haughtily to say, "Look at me. Make the most of your chance. I am the great, I am the only Charles Dickens. Whatever I may choose to do is justified by that fact." After disembarking at Folkestone, Dickens, Ellen and Mrs. Ternan took the 2:38 tidal train to London. As they approached Staplehurst, they were the only passengers in their coach, one of 7 first-class carriages in the tidal train that day. The engineer was going full speed, about 50 miles per hour, as they passed Headcorn at 11 minutes after 3 in the afternoon. They were now approaching the railroad viaduct near Staplehurst. Labourers were carrying out a routine replacement of old timbers on that span. Later investigation, and I have read the reports, showed that the foreman had consulted the wrong timetable and did not expect the tidal train for another 2 hours. It seems that we travellers are not the only ones to be confounded by British railway timetables. A flagman was required by railway policy and English law to be stationed 1,000 yards up the rails from such work. 2 of the rails had already been lifted off at the bridge and set alongside the track. But for some reason this man with his red flag was only 550 yards from the gap. This did not give a train travelling at the speed of the Folkestone-London Tidal Express any chance of stopping in time. The engineer, upon seeing the red flag so tardily waved, and a much more soul-riveting sight, I am sure, upon seeing the gap in